Hey everyone, today on Public Land Adventures, I am going to go over a scouting trip I did in southern Ohio. I will be breaking down one whole hill, and this will be based off of Beast Tactics. So hopefully this will give you something to follow along with in the fall and see how this all unfolds. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy. So basically we got a little redneck tech here. I don't have the equipment to do it quite like the pros do, so hopefully this turns out well and you guys can follow along. But basically our access was the trail coming in on the top of the ridge, and then we dropped off to where that little yellow A is and started hiking just off the trail, 50, 100 yards, 150 yards. And it didn't take us long to get to that black mark where we found a primary scrape. Alright folks, we're out here doing a little spring scouting, mushroom hunting, whatever. Really picking this hillside apart. And we've been out here maybe 10 minutes. And I come across this large scrape area right there, still being used. And I don't know how well you can see it, but there's a nice game trail running right down there. So I'll just keep posted as we go along here and see what else we find on this adventure. After that primary scrape, I continued following basically a game trail right around that same elevation, and it was just a game trail went all the way across this hillside. And I come up to that brown marker. I found a singular bed. Now, I don't know how well you can see this, but we got a bed right here for sure. There's actually hair right there in it, and we're just kind of on the hillside. I hunted this last fall. So after finding the bed, we just continued following trails, and I mean there were trail after trail branching off of this into thick cover where I presume bedding was, and I mean it was just so thick I wasn't going to dive into all that, just because I only have so much time. But I had a good gist of what was going on, and get us out there, get a good idea of what's going on. So we follow on to that white marker where I ended up finding a nice rub. And what I did with this is that all these markers, I took pictures so that whenever I go back in the fall, I'll have an idea of what trees I can set up on. And that I think that'll be beneficial, so I can kind of sit at camp and maybe get a good game plan together, so I'm not fumbling around when I get out there to hunt. So we just continued along that 900-foot elevation, on the south side of the hill, being the bottom of your screen. And basically where that big blue area is shaded with the scat markers was just nothing but bedding, I would presume. I never actually found any beds, but I found a ton of scat, and it was thick. Thick enough that I didn't want to dive in there too deep. So I don't know if I'm technically doing this beast style or not, but we're definitely finding the sign and finding some beds. And we basically continued along the north side of the ridge at the same elevation. And immediately after we get from that blue shaded area, we start finding more sign. And every little point out there, you would find scat and you would find sign, and I just didn't mark them all. I'll be honest. There was a lot. I mean, at least now I have a good general idea. I kind of marked the better ones and took pictures of the better ones, just to get a good general idea when I go back out. But we just moved along that same elevation the whole way back. And kind of what intrigued me is we got up to that last red marker where the scrape is on the north side, or the top side of your screen. we got there, and I mean, it just got thick, like jungle thick. All multiflora rose and autumn olive. I mean, thick. My buddy actually followed me through this stuff, and when I say followed, he wasn't happy, but he followed me through it, and we did find a lot of beds. So, in closing, what I ended up finding was a shed antler from a buck. It's pretty chewed up, so it's hard to say what it might have been, but found a shed nonetheless. First one I've personally picked up in southern Ohio. And basically, we found tons of bedding, tons of scrapes, tons of rubs, uh, some of the heaviest game trails I've ever seen in southern Ohio. I mean, for a lot of years I struggled to even see uh, any game trails down there, and I thought they were just so dispersed that I couldn't find them. But since this is going off of beast style tactics, I kind of focused on that top third elevation, and man, just the amount of sign we found and the amount of opportunities it's going to give me this fall was it's just unreal. I got at least 6 spots that I'm going to attempt to hunt this fall down there, and yeah, it was just a good trip all together, and I appreciate you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, share, and subscribe.